Hey guys, Marcinkin here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so earlier today we got a data download on JP. Shout out to Proton as always for putting together the breakdown post of all of the information. Of course, the big main thing that we already know about, as it was announced yesterday with the details revealed and all of the animations and everything like that, is of course the LR Cell Max, which is coming to JP tomorrow. Basically, at the time that this video goes up, it will be less than 24 hours until the banner comes out over on the JP side. But we have a bunch of other interesting information in the data download as well, including info on the next World Tournament for JP, which it turns out is going to be this upcoming weekend. So once again, shout out to Proton. We'll have a look down here through the details of the thread. So there's everything in the base, like image, all the stuff that was added into the files here. So we have a promo movie for the Part 2 LR. I can't remember, do they always do promo movies for Part 2 Yellow Coin LRs? I can't remember if the Ginyu Force had one or not, but we get a promo movie that is, of course, just a bunch of the animations from the LR Cell Max, which will play the first time you open up the game once the banner comes out. I always get thrown off because I stream, so obviously I'm always in the game before the new stuff comes out, and then sometimes it's not until literally the next day where I've closed the game and actually then reopened it, and then you get the promo movie. But then we have all the arts for Cell Max. I think his TUR art is actually pretty cool, but yeah, the SSR, TUR and LR arts for Cell Max, and the little pieces for like the wheel and everything. Then we have our World Tournament units. So Kale and Caulifla, the Int Caulifla and Tech Kale, are finally getting their awakenings into TURs with this upcoming World Tournament. And then we have 4 EZA'S as well. As always, a Dragon Ball Saga character, which is the Int TN with the forearm technique. Then we have the AGL base Vegito, the Int Gohan, and the physical Chi-Chi. I do have the rough translation details up for them, so we will go through those here in a moment once we go through all the other details. I have not looked at them yet, so it will be my initial reading and first reaction to these kits on this video. Then JP is getting new quest mode stages. Obviously, this is in part with the release of the Bardock. I don't think there'll be any medals or anything, like, because it would be in this data download, actually, so we know there isn't. Bardock, of course, not going to get his TUR awakening anytime soon, but I imagine that the way this will line up is then the next time JP gets quest stages after this, those will then give you the ability. It'll probably just be through the Green Gem shop again, but that's when we'll then get the ability to buy the medals to awaken Bardock into whatever his TUR form is going to be. So new quest stages. Then we have a new upcoming stage of Super Battle Road, stage 82, Sworn Enemies. Obviously, if you pulled the Int Boo during the Golden Week celebration, this will be significantly easier. But even if you didn't, with all the Boo Saga team buffs, like a full Boo team should take care of this very easily. So yeah, stage 82, Sworn Enemies. Then there's going to be Infinite Dragon Ball History, stage 31, Dragon Ball Super Superhero. So you can see the starting map here is the mountain from the beginning of the movie where Piccolo fights Gamma 2. I wonder if it'll go through all of the characters, because I guess it can't really only go through the villains, right? Because they would literally, I say villains, but like the antagonists, because it would just be Gamma 1, Gamma 2, the LR Gammas together maybe, and then Cell Max. So I imagine it's going to be a mix of all of the characters, which is kind of cool. Since the movie starts with Pan and Piccolo training, we could start off with Pan, or maybe it'll just start off straight away with Piccolo, then have Gamma 2, then maybe have like a Gohan stage, then Gamma 1. Gohan and Goten and Trunks can obviously be in there. The Krillin and 18 card, Beast, and then Cell Max, I imagine, will be towards the end. Whether Beast will be in it, maybe it just ends with Cell Max, who knows. But yeah, Infinite Dragon Ball History stage 31 for Superhero. Then we have ESBR as well as the normal SBR. So stage 59, Super Saiyan 2. That's not a team that's had a huge amount of buffs lately, so that one could certainly be tricky when it comes to the no items run. Obviously the STR Kefla EZA definitely going to be very effective in that one. But yeah, Super Saiyan 2, stage 59 of ESBR. Then we have the Intensifying Fights stage 4. So a new stage for the Intensifying Fights event. It doesn't give any information here yet on the boss or anything like that, but that will be coming out tomorrow as well, once all the other stuff comes out with Cell Max. And then, yeah, just the banners and art and stuff for the World Tournament. Obviously, the legendary coin. This is, of course, because Cell Max is a yellow coin LR, which means his banner does have the pity system. So every multi you do, you get these silver coins. Any SSR, bonus SSRs that you've already got rainbowed that you trade in, you get the silver coins. And then you can spend, is it 200 coins to get a copy of Cell Max. So very cool. And then there's just some story assets for the Ginyu Force. A new enemy round skill. So this could be for that intensifying fight stage. Defense reinforcement. Defense rises rapidly. And you can cancel it out by using a domain. So that's very interesting. So that's all the stuff in a breakdown here in the data download. Shout out to Proton. So if we start checking out some of the actual characters here. So this is the Int Caulifla. So bear in mind, her and the Kale are just getting their awakening from SSR to TUR. It's not the EZA. So they have a 90% leader skill for their typing. I'm assuming Kale's going to have the same, but for super tech. Infinitely stack attack and defense. Extra large. Yeah, unfortunately, it's the rough Google Translate. So I think extra large is just supreme. And then lowers attack. Attack and defense 100%. For each Universe 6 ally on the team, attack and defense increased by 20% and crit chance of 6%. So that's a pretty significant buff on like a full Universe 6 team. With a character name, with Kale in the name in the same turn, attack is increased by an additional 160%, high chance to dodge, and an additional super attack guaranteed. Every time you dodge, your attack and defense increases by 20%, up to 60%. If you attack 6 or more times during battle, I love this turn, that you will definitely perform an additional attack from that turn onwards. So once she's attacked 6 times, she then gets a guaranteed additional attack that has a high chance to become a super. So, I mean, that seems pretty good. Obviously, just for an Awakened TUR, with a Kale on rotation, much higher attack, 50% chance to dodge. I mean, these units are always designed to be run together, so it's not surprising. But yeah, she certainly seems like she could be quite strong. And on a full Universe 6 team, that's a pretty significant amount of extra stats, so that's very good. And then the Tech Kale, yeah, super tech, 90%. Again, infinite attack and defense stack, supreme damage, lowers defense. Not as good as lowering attack, but is what it is. And I imagine these guys are going to have very, very similar passives. Although, actually, increased own damage by attack and defense by 160%. That's considerably more. 1 key attack and defense 40% for all allies in... Okay, so she's a support unit. So she gives 1 key 40% attack and defense to all Universe 6 allies. Attack and defense of all Pure Saiyan allies on the team increased by 20%. Ooh, so... So that means, so Universe 6 Pure Saiyan allies, she gives them 60% attack and defense, if that's correct. With a Caulifla on the team, on the same turn even, defense is increased by 160 and a high chance to guard. Chance to guard is awkward, but at least it's a lot of extra defense, and then a guaranteed additional super. Attack and defense increased 60% on super as well. And then if you attack 6 or more times, you get an additional attack with a high chance to become a super. So she's got less... she doesn't get any build-up like Caulifla does. She has a high chance to guard instead of a high chance to dodge, but she's giving a ton of support by the looks of it as well. So that's very interesting. It's unfortunate that out of the two, she seems like the one that is the better inclusion into a team if you were only going to use one. But obviously the issue that we have with Kales and Cauliflas when it comes to the Universe 16 currently is we really need more Cauliflas so that the STR Kale can have a Caulifla on rotation with her. But this Kale definitely seems very good, especially if this is correct, right? And it's Pure Saiyan Universe 6 allies get 60% attack and defense. Because her with the Caulifla, like with STR Kaba, that could be pretty crazy. So that definitely seems very interesting. Then we have the EZA'S. So AGL Vegito. He's got attack increase for 1 turn, supreme damage, increase allies attack by 30% for 1 turn. And then we have attack and defense 150. When in slot 1, he gets 2 extra key, 150% defense, and a very high chance to avoid enemy attacks. So that means great chance. So 70% chance to dodge in slot 1. When there's an enemy from the Buu Saga category, he gets a guaranteed additional super. Increase attack and defense 30% for all super allies, and increase attack and defense by an additional 3% for each ally in the Buu Saga on the team. Okay, so that's interesting. So that means if you're running a full Boo Saga team, because there's no cap here listed, so if you're running a full Boo Saga team, including the friend, that's 7 units. That's an extra 21%. So he's giving superclass allies 51% attack and defense if it's on a full Boo Saga team. And then even if you only have, like, him in terms of Boo Saga, it's still 33% attack and defense support, which is pretty good. Attack increased 50% when attacking. Each attack increases defense by an additional 20% up to 100, and then always gets an additional attack that has a high chance to become a super. So he seems interesting, but unfortunately against tougher enemies with no defense raise on super, he probably is just going to be dodge or die against the tougher enemies, especially because I think he has the older way of wording his passive. So he actually has to attack in slot 1 to get the 70% chance to dodge, I think, which then of course makes him very dangerous to use against some of these big bosses that love super attacking in slot 1. So not too sure about this guy. He has the potential, but if it does work that way, which I think it does for him in slot 1, then probably not going to end up being that useful, unfortunately. But you could run him as a floating support unit. He's not going to get that 70% chance to dodge though from his passive, so you'd have to then just build him full dodge. But he could be a good support unit for the Boo Saga team, potentially. No defense raise on super, though, is very disappointing. His maximum defense is probably not going to be particularly high, which is a shame. I mean, I guess it depends. Again, full Boo Saga team, he's giving himself the support as well. Once he's attacked 5 times, he has an extra 100% from the passive. But he's definitely not going to be tanking like big boss super attacks or anything. Then we have the Int Youth Gohan. So, supreme damage, increased attack and defense by 50% for 6 turns. Pretty good super attack effect. You can get a few stacks on this, so that works out quite nicely. He gets 3 key, attack and defense 100%. On super, he gets 100%. So, 100% buff on super is pretty good. Increase attack by 100% for 3 turns after receiving an attack. So, you don't have to put him in slot 1 as long as he stays on main rotation. He'll have that buff on the next turn. He gives Android/Cell Saga allies 2 key, attack and defense 30%, and then an additional 3% increase for each superclass ally on the team. So similar to Vegito, but this time it's superclass. So on a full superclass team, he's giving all superclass allies 21%, and then Android/Cell Saga allies get 30. So superclass Android/Cell Saga allies 51%. So that's very good. When there are 2 or less enemies, he has 58% crit chance. When there are 3 or more enemies, he seals them. That's interesting. So when there are 2 or more enemies, I'm guessing it says the attacking enemies. I wonder if it just means the attacked enemy. Because otherwise that reads as if he seals everyone on the rotation immediately. So like in Super Battle Road, if there's 3 enemies, start of turn, everyone just gets sealed, is how that reads. But I think it might be when he attacks them. And then guards all attacks when there's a Bond of Master and Disciple ally in the same turn. That's actually really good. So guaranteed guard with a Bond of Master and Disciple ally. There are a few units for sure that you can activate that condition on an Android/Cell Saga team. So this Gohan actually seems, like, obviously we need to see his full numbers and everything in game, but he seems like he could end up being a must run for like a super class Android/Cell Saga. He'll be like a must run support unit. So that's very good. Then we have Chi-Chi, who I love the fact that Google Translate, her name is Hoo-Hoo, apparently. Wife of Goku, mother of Gohan, Hoo-Hoo. Attack increase for 1 turn, extra large damage, so supreme, high chance to stun. Attack and defense 150. Reduces the attack and defense of the attacked enemy 22% for 3 turns, so a bit of attack lowering is good. Medium chance to dodge, only 30%. When HP is 50% or more, 3 key and attack and defense 150. When HP is below 49%, 50% attack increase and evasion increase by 40. So if you're at 49% or less HP, she has 70% chance to dodge. When a Goku character with Goku in their name, is an enemy or in the same turn, attacks effective against all types and a high chance of additional super. Always perform 2 additional attacks, so be 2 additional normals. Increase defense 150% when attacking. Every time you attack 5 or more times in battle, an additional super will be activated, maximum 1 time per turn. So again, she kind of like Vegito, if she had defense raise on super, then she might actually be quite good. But yeah, she only gets the 70% chance to dodge if you're below half health, otherwise it's only 30. She's not raising, she gets 150% defense when attacking, to be fair, but yeah, I don't know, with her not raising defense on super, because otherwise with her getting all these additionals and things like that, she could end up getting super the 2 additional normals, then an additional super with a Goku on the turn, an additional super from the hidden potential, which would then activate this, and another additional super. So if she had raised defense on super attack, she'd actually be really good. So I guess it remains to be seen, because her post-super defense is not going to be anything too crazy, which means she's going to be dodge or die against these harder hitting enemies, which is a bit of a shame. But other than that, like, the potential is there, but no defense raise on super is a shame. And then the Int TN, the DB Saga character, for getting his EZA. Supreme damage, increased attack and defense 50% for 9 turns. That's pretty good. So you can get a lot of stacks on that. Always gets 2 additional attacks to have a high chance to be a super. Whenever you attack 4 or more times in battle, an additional super will be activated. So if you get these 2 attacks and then you get the hidden potential, you just get that on that turn. So then he does an extra super. When there's a Turtle School enemy, additional special move is activated and the attack of the enemy is reduced by 20% for 2 turns. Increase attack and defense by 40% for each ally in the youth category on the team. That's interesting. So it's like he's designed to be run against like a Goku, essentially. But then if you have Kid Gokus on the team, he gets extra stats, which is an interesting one. I mean, the DB Saga team has a lot of crossover with good youth characters like Bulma for support and stuff like that. So this guy could actually be pretty good because he is raising defense. He's stacking it for multiple turns. And then he's got a couple of different ways that you can get that 4 attacks in the 1 turn. And then he does a guaranteed super that gives him another stack. But even if you only get 3 attacks on the first turn, on his next turn, you then get his 4th attack. So that other bit will activate. So this guy actually has the potential to be quite good, I think, for a DB Saga team. So definitely looking forward to his one. He seems like he could be... It's him and that Int Gohan, I think, are probably the 2 best. This guy might be the best of the actual DB Saga EZAs. And then I think this guy is probably the best one from the batch for having that Android/Cell Saga support option. But let me know what you guys think down below of the World Tournament EZAs. Obviously, we're still waiting for the next World Tournament on Global, which will probably be the end of June, where we get the STR High School Gohan. But let me know your thoughts on all of these units down below. And Cell Max, if you're on JP, are you summoning for him tomorrow? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.